Welcome in, everyone. This is Julie Maxon, the main stamper, and I am doing my regularly scheduled Make It Monday. Now, if you have seen me party with you for the last 5 days, I have been online doing live demonstrations for 5 days straight, and that was actually in our private Facebook group for the Arty Party. It is my annual mystery host party, and we had tons of games. We had tons of prizes. We had a mystery host who won last night's drawing $205 worth of free Stampin' Up! Merchandise and, of course, the half price item, just by placing a $30 minimum order with me during that party. That was a spectacular time. I want to say thank you so much. If you joined in, I really appreciate all your interaction. It was a great time. I always have a blast, but I also get really tired. And you might be tired of seeing me. I'm sorry. The party's over, so it's just going to, go back down to like my weekly lives here. But thank you so much. If you missed it, definitely make sure you jump in next year. I do this every June. Make sure you're following me. Make sure you're checking out my posts. Make sure you're on my email list. All kinds of ways that you can find out what good fun things that I'm running so that you can be part of it. You don't want to miss it. It is so much fun. So congratulations again, Debbie. I know she's so excited. She's still shopping. That's a lot to pick out, and it's a lot of pressure to pick out that much free product, which is awesome. The other thing I want to say is, who hates paying shipping? Shipping is bleh. Nobody wants to pay shipping, right? For the first time in well over 10, 12 years, I don't even know how far back it goes, but in the history that I've been with Stampin' Up!, their shipping costs have always been the same, and in April they went up. So they went up from $6.95 to $7.95 for any orders under $70, and they went from 10% to 11% shipping fees on anything over $70. So obviously everything's going up right now. Shipping is crazy. And nobody wants to have to pay shipping, right? But randomly, and this is the most random thing in the world, I swear I didn't know this was happening until this weekend. I found out this weekend they announced on Saturday, they snuck in an announcement, tomorrow, free shipping day. What? Free shipping day. It is only for tomorrow, June 21st. And it is on orders of $75 or more. So if you have an order, if you have items that you still want and you want to save shipping, so obviously if you've got a $75 order, you're saving 11%. So free shipping day is tomorrow only. It only applies to orders that are started and finished tomorrow. So for example, if I had an open party, I can't get free shipping in the middle of my party. It's got to be an open and close on one day. Everything is available for free shipping except for the month-to-month paper pumpkin. What does that mean? That means if you want 3 months of paper pumpkin, 6 months, a year's worth of paper pumpkin for free shipping, you can do that. You can actually do that tomorrow, one day only. This is such a random event that they do free shipping. So seriously, think about that. I know it's not a lot of time. They don't give us a lot of time or notice. They just put them out there. The next one probably won't even occur until the fall, but who knows? It's a huge guessing game for me. So anyway, hi, Jackie and Jess and Rhonda. I'm just checking to see who's on right now. And let's get to our card, right? We're going to make a card tonight. We always make a card on Make It Monday. Let me get in here so you can see. Hey, cheers. This is a shaker card. I don't know if you can tell. Oh gosh, I got to go this way with the camera, right? So I've got some pool party ink in here to make it look like water. But all these little effervescent elements that look like little bubbles are in the bottom of my vintage bottle shaker card. So we're going to get working on this. This is going to be an awesome card. Let me get you over to my workspace so we can get going on that. Let's talk about our products too here. So this is the vintage bottle punch. I called it all kinds of things during my Arty Party, but it's called the vintage bottle punch. We're going to be using this tonight with the Bottled Happiness stamp set. Fantastic stamp set. Now this is the image that will punch out. This one you would have to fussy cut, which would be a really easy fussy cut. I love that there's a cork. We are using the flowers. We're not actually using this sprig here today, but we're using the flowers. I'm going to show you some do's and don'ts. I got lots of ideas here. The vintage Christmas stamp set is one that will be coming up in the July to December mini catalog. So this also coordinates with our punch, which is fantastic. I love when they do that. And you've got a couple of different sentiments in here, some seasonal ones, right? But they don't have to all be seasonal. This could be fall for sure. So just another use for your vintage. I just love this. I love this so much. So I'm really excited to be showing you this tonight. Now, this is the card that we're making. I'm going to kind of bring my catalog down. It's on page 16 of the annual. I always change up just a few things, and I kind of changed up this little wood board a lot, and then I found out how they actually did it, and I'm going to do it differently tonight. So I'm going to show you a couple different ways that you can do this. This is the card. I mounted my designer series paper from the Tea Boutique 6x6 papers. You can see that I've dug into this. This is all like little pieces of paper that I keep in the front, and then in the back here I've got all of my 6x6. We've got some tea, we've got some lemons, we've got all kinds of stuff in here. Fun papers. I know this has been a popular paper pack. I typically just chop it up, throw my scraps in here, and then dig through when I need something. That's kind of how I keep my papers. Little side note there. Okay, so this is our card. We covered that annual catalog. Let's talk briefly about the mini catalog here. The January to June coming to an end. There are a lot of items that are already sold out. There are still items that are 50% off. If you find enough items in this catalog tomorrow that you like, you can get free shipping. You just have to reach the $75 minimum. Don't forget that great sale. Okay, the mini catalog and the celebrations start in July. I'm so excited about these. I am shipping catalogs tomorrow. If you're on my list, if you shop with me, you're getting a catalog. If you don't shop with me, let me know and we will talk about how I can get you a catalog. All right, so here's our card. Again, we have a petal pink card base, and we have this beautiful designer series paper. Now look how demure and pink. This is petal pink. When you flip it over, it is something bold. I'll tell you what. We are not using the bold side. We're going to keep it softly pink, and I'm going to go ahead and put this on my card base because that is like one of the easiest things to do. Keep in mind there is an orientation here, so you could put it this way or you could put it this way. I prefer to have the little flowers facing up. But if you like them facing down, that's certainly a thing you could do. I cut this designer series paper. It's your first mat size, 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to set that aside because we don't even need that right now. We are going to talk about this little wooden plank right here on the bottom of where our jar sits. How cool is that? I just love this. Okay, let me bring in a couple of things here. When I first was looking at this, I didn't realize they used an embossing folder. So let me just start with that. I'm looking through every stamp set I could find for a wood grain stamp because I thought for sure they stamped this. I thought that's what they did. So I grabbed out this wood grain stamp from Sweet Songbirds, right? I grabbed some scraps here. I'm going to just show you how quickly I did this. So if you have a wood grain stamp somewhere in your collection, just go ahead and stamp away. Now I find that the best thing to do here is like over stamp. So just kind of, it's okay if it's over stamped. I thought it was odd if it was under stamped, and if it's too thick for the stamp, you can certainly stamp again. So I had to play. This is one where I didn't quite match up my stamp end to end, and it left little gaps in there. I wasn't happy with that. I played with this quite a bit. So when I made this card, I actually stamped. This is a stamped image using this stamp and crumb cake, cardstock, soft suede ink. However, I did some research after I kind of put some of this together and determined that they actually used the timber folder, which we're going to do right now. And so I've got a piece of crumb cake here, and I'm going to put this in. And I made this piece a little bit wider than the one that, nope, we're going to use this one. So when I stamped, I was trying to kind of fill the width of the stamp. This is just over 1/2 inch. This is 3/4 inch by 3. And I figured since we're embossing it, it can be a little bit thicker. I don't have to worry about the stamp filling up the space. Let me bring in my big emboss machine here. And this is the only time we're going to use this tonight. So I've got my base plate. This is a 3D embossing folder, so it's a thicker embossing folder. I'm going to put it in with the ridged or the closed end in first. I've got my number 4 plate, which is for 3D embossing folders, and off she's gonna go. All right, so we have, let me get all of this taken apart here. Get rid of my plates. And the timber is going to give us so it's a piece that you can barely tell. I mean, in the light, it's really hard to see what's going on, but we are going to bring back in that soft suede ink and a blending brush. And I'm just going to go over top of it and sponge it down. Now you can, I know there's techniques where you can put ink right directly onto the embossing folder and run it through. And I did try that, I'm not gonna lie, but it didn't turn out very dark. I wanted it to be darker and I ended up sponging it anyway. So by sponging it, you're skipping the step where you have to actually use a baby wipe or running water to clean the ink off of your embossing folder. Just go straight for the sponge. I think that this is a lot easier. So here is the embossed piece with some sponging. And here is, well, that's kind of not the prettiest one here. Let's try this one. Here's the difference between stamping, right? So stamping or this. So I'm going to use this one on my card and we're going to kind of see the difference tonight here when we put it together. I think I like the embossing one a lot better. Let me know in the comments, but regardless, there are a couple of ways to do that. So if you don't have a stamp that has wood grain or you don't have that wood grain embossing folder, you can figure out different ways that you could put this together. Just wanted to throw that out there. Now I'm going to actually glue this little wooden shelf onto my white cardstock here. And I'm only putting glue on the two ends. This is a 3-inch wide piece of white cardstock. I'm going to just put it here at the bottom. So this, my shelf is the same width as my cardstock, right? So it's exactly at the bottom right here. So that's going to take care. I'll bring my card back in kind of so you can see where I'm going. So this is where I'm at right now. This piece is a little bit wider again than this piece because I left it narrow to stamp on. And I need my bottle punch. This is where the bottle punch is going to come in. So I have to have this piece right here before I punch it because it's going to notch out a little piece of the shelf. Now the reason I like to use a 3-inch wide piece of cardstock when I have a punch that I'm kind of going blind with, right? So I'm putting it here in the top. I'm pushing it all the way to the bottom so I know it's as far up as the punch can go. But I also have the 3-inch wide because this punch is about 3 inches wide. So it's easier for me to center this and feel pretty confident that I have it centered. So as soon as you feel comfortable with where she's at, we're going to punch. And here is what we've got. So our bottle is going to come in through here. So obviously it punched out our white paper and it also punched out this little piece of embossed piece here too, because that was just part of the party here, right? So this is what we've got so far. And now we're going to do some stamping. And we are going to bring in our flowers and crushed curry and petal pink ink with some sponge daubers. Now this is a photopolymer stamp, and the first time you use a photopolymer stamp, you're really likely to get a splotchy, kind of not perfect image. And if you look at the yellow flowers, and I don't know how close I can get to the camera before it gets blurry, there's a lot of splotchies in here, and it just, I did not follow my rule of clean your photopolymer stamps before you use them. I feel like if you scrub them down a little bit, rough them up a little bit, put some Versamark ink on them if you have to, they're going to stamp an image so much nicer right out of the gate. If you don't do that, you're going to get splotchy, images until the factory dust, let's call it factory dust, kind of comes off that photopolymer. Now right now I'm focusing on the petal pink, and I'm just kind of doing the outer flowers here, the ones that are kind of tall and then the ones on the outside that are kind of small. And I'm doing the light color first and putting the petal pink on there, and then I'm going to go over it with the crushed curry and a sponge dauber. And by doing the darker color second, so I'm just going to go over here, it's okay if it overlaps because it's not going to hurt anything. This yellow ink over top of the petal pink, perfectly fine. So now I'm just focusing on the bigger flowers and kind of like right in the middle. So you can kind of see what I got going on there. And now I'm going to line this up on, I gotta turn this around and play puzzle piece here for a second. So the taller flowers are going to go up, and then this little notch right here is really kind of where the bottle top is going to go. So I'm going to put it right about here and press it down, right? So it's right on there. And here are my flowers. So you can see the two different colors. You can kind of see these wisteria type looking flowers. Maybe they're a stilbe, I'm not sure. And then you can see the really bright yellow ones in the middle. So the difference between the first time stamping with photopolymer and not treating the stamp correctly. And the second time, now this will lighten up as it goes, but you can see that it's so much more filled in. It doesn't have those splotchy areas in the middle of all the yellow. But you know, sometimes I just carry on. I'm just like, you know, I'm in a hurry. I'm just going to do it. We're going to see what's going to happen. Now this is actually kind of a two-step stamping, although it's not quite two-step stamping. This stamp right here, which is this stamp, is going to be our greens, and it's going to go right over top of all the things we got going on. So I'm just going to bring in some old olive here. Now this is kind of a little bit trickier because there's little tiny flowers in here in the middle, and then there's greens on the outside. Those little flowers, those little like greenish colored flowers, actually are going to sit in the middle of the flowers that I've already stamped. So it's just a matter of, thankfully we got photopolymer here. It's just a matter of trying to line them up as best you can, and then you go for it. Ooh, I love it. Look at how awesome that is. So now you can see where all the green hit the middle of those yellow flowers. Isn't that great? And it kind of just floats along perfectly wherever it's supposed to be. It's like meant to work together. So that is the stamping for the flowers. I love these colors together. So my second stamping, actually this is like my fifth stamping probably, because I played with this stamp quite a bit after I got a terrible image, but I'd already punched my paper, and I was determined that I was going to go for it. So go for it I did. Now we're going to bring in all of our fun stuff here to put together our shaker stuff. So effervescent elements, these are so much fun. They look like bubbles. I showed these off during the arty party too. I love these things so much, but they're very roly-poly, so we have to be super careful. Pretty sure I lost one on the floor earlier, but I think we're okay. These are the shaker domes. They are vintage bottle shaker domes, similar to the gumball machine, similar to the jar punch. They have shaker domes. So these are the little domes. You're going to get a set of 10. They have double adhesives on them. So you can see that right there. And what they do is they just sit underneath here perfectly. They fit the size of the punch. And what we're actually going to do right now is we're going to put part of this together. So I'm going to take off the top. So we're working from the top down because we're working with really roly-poly type of elements. And to put the elements in the middle of a piece of paper and then try to center them over top of the this shaker dome is like impossible. So I just peeled off the top. Now this is sticky. The back side still has the protective coating on it, so it's not sticky on the back. I'm just going to set it down, and I'm going to put this right over top of my hole punch opening here, right? So I've got the shaker dome is in there. And this is what it looks like from the back. So I will be able to put my little elements in there, which we're going to do in just a minute. You always want to have a piece of cardstock to put on the back. So this is going to stick to this. When I take this off, it's going to come over here like this. And then we're going to have our backing. Whether you stamp it or do something like this, I'm just going to take the Pool Party Stamp and Blend. And I'm just going to put some pretend water. And I'm just kind of scribbling this in. I can come back through. I like to dome it a little bit, right? So kind of just makes it look like that. And I'm just going to see what it's going to look like on top of here. So it looks pretty good, right? It's got, I've got both ends covered. It's wide enough. It's definitely high enough. I don't think I need to go any higher than that. And this is going to fit on here. I'm just going to make sure if I pull my paper all the way to the bottom, we still have a good coverage there of some ink to give us some of the blue water effect. Now you could just go, this could be it. You don't have to add extra fun shaky things in here, but they certainly are fun, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to grab some of these and I'm going to put them in here. And I just lost another one on the floor. Man, these things are roly-poly, I'm telling you what. All right, so I think I'm going to just, okay, a couple more and then we're good. We're good. Now these last a long time because you really don't need a ton of your card, right? So here they are. They're sitting inside this little dome, and just very carefully now I'm going to take off this backing. Now if you flip it too much, your little bubbles are going to come flying out, just so that you're aware. Now this is sticky. I'm going to remember that I want the blue to go this way because the blue is going to show in the front, and I'm gonna kind of line this up in here, and hopefully we're good. I hope, yes, we are. All right, so basically I'm just kind of pressing this down now because we've got our little adhesive going on there, so you can see my little bubbles, you can see my blue. It's perfect. I love it. It's super cute, right? So, and the shaky works. That's like the best part. So that was all my little tips there for the shaker dome. Now we can put this part here on our card, just like so. Now, if you have, if it overlaps on the ends, or if you cut a really wide piece, you can definitely trim it off before you put it onto your card's base. But I'm going to go ahead and put a whole bunch of glue on here, like a whole bunch of glue, because I want it to be a little bit heavier. And we're going to put this kind of centered right in the middle. I definitely like the embossed shelf much better than the original shelf, but we still have more to add here. So let's keep on rocking and rolling. We're going to bring in our sentiment now. We're using the sentiment that says sending cheer. Now we've got why not, right? So people that are, you know, like little funny, quirky things, there's something there. Let's get into the spirit. That's a fun one too, right? Overflowing with happiness. I love it. Now they do have a sample in the catalog, sending a little message, and they actually rolled up a small piece of paper, put a little piece of ribbon or twine on it, and stuck it inside the bottle, like message inside a bottle. If you haven't seen that, it is super cute. We're using some Pool Party and Night of Navy. Before we do that, I'm going to bring in my builder punch here, and I'm just going to go ahead and punch a piece. This is a 1 inch wide, but I go just slightly under 1 inch because it will fit into this channel much better. If you have it at exactly 1 inch, it's a little snug. You can do 1 inch, ½ an inch, and ¼ inch. And basically you've got a couple of different options here for ends, and you push it all the way to the back as far as it will go. Make sure it's all the way back in there and as straight as possible, right? And whoop, hang on. Punch, it wiggled on me. So then we've got this, just this little nice little tag. It almost looks like a ribbon hanging down. And then from there, I'm going to actually stamp it and then trim it up. I find that it's easier to do it this way than to try to figure out how big you want your paper to be, take into account that it's going to get chopped up, and then using such a small piece in this punch, so this small piece right here, would be almost impossible to get it into that channel. So it's definitely easier to take a longer piece, stamp it. I've got my sending cheer there at the bottom. And now I'm just going to bring in my paper trimmer and trim it up. Now you could use scissors too, but I do like to try to use my paper trimmer and make it kind of straight. I determined that just a little over 1 inch was plenty, maybe 1 1/8 inches or so. Chop it up right there, and look how cute that is. Sending cheer, right? Any little sentiment would look awesome on there, I think. All right, so this is going to come on our card with some dimensionals. I got to find my dimensionals here. And right now I'm just using kind of some little parts and pieces. Let me bring this over. Let me see what I can fit on here. Maybe one more at the bottom. Just kind of chopping off the sides here. That will work. Okay, so we just have our little piece here. Pool Party with Night of Navy ink. This is just going to come up here at the top. It's going to sit on the white edge, and it does cover up some of our pretty flowers, but that's okay. I mean, it's really cute, right? And the last thing we're going to do is add in some ribbon, and I have some linen thread, and I have an older old olive. That's I'm not even sure what this was from, which pack this was from. I'm just going to make a quick little bow here. So in the catalog sample, they actually had like some twine and a ribbon, and it just looks really cute together. I know it might be harder to see at first, but it is here. And I think when you see it in person, you pick up more of the details than the camera allows. And now I'm going to just make a little bow here with my old olive. So I like to do bunny ears, crisscross them under that way. And this needs to be a little bit longer. And I am a huge fan of just making the ribbon or bow right on, puff up the edges there, right on my spool, because I always know then, like, how much do I really need? There's like no waste here, right? I made a ribbon. I don't have anything I got to trim off really. It's just the way to go. I like to be as frugal as I can. Now we're going to bring in some tear and tape, my best friend. Tear and tape, and I just need a small piece. So about this much, it's probably like 3/4 of a ½ an inch maybe, and I'm just going to wrap it along the top of the bottle here. So it's going to kind of go, it's going to hit the cardstock on either side, and it's going to come across the top here of this bottle. And then the hard part is getting this to separate. bring in my scissors here, see if I can get it started. Sometimes it helps. And I got it opened up there. So scissors are your friend too. All right, so when I put these on here, I took the twine and I actually put it like closer to the top. So the twine is as far up to the top as it can be. There's still lots of tear and tape down here underneath, and then I put the next one down a little bit lower. So that way they're staggered just slightly so that you can kind of see both of them. Now the ribbon, of course, is covering up wherever that tear and tape is, or was, I should say. It's covering it up so you don't see it. It's just perfect. And oh my gosh, you guys, there is our card. And that didn't even take that long, right? We are at like 25 minutes in. I think I talked for a couple minutes in between. So tell me what you think, if you like the stamped version of the shelf or the embossed version of the shelf. Obviously, the flowers look a lot nicer on the second card here that I made because they just, you know, I've got my stamp figured out. But there we have it in some pretty spring-like colors. Woohoo! Okay. Hi, everybody again. Welcome back. And let's get me on the camera. Here we go. Okay, yep, here. I'm back. So many technical things here. Okay, so that was the card tonight. Pretty quick and easy for sure. The Shaker Dome cards are kind of fun. Now, obviously, this is going to be something that you would want to hand deliver or put into packaging that's going to allow it to go into the mail, because this little bubble here, while it's not super thick, I mean, you definitely don't want that to get crushed. It's kind of a acrylic-y plastic, and so you need to put it into like a bubble wrap package or you know, a small box or what have you. But that might be a hand card, a hand delivered, handmade card, right? So that is the beautiful card for tonight. On Wednesday, of course, I'm going to change up the colors. I'm going to come up with something else, but I'm still going to have another shaker card to compare it to. I love doing that over on Positive Paper Crafters, so you guys can check out different color schemes, see what you like. Yeah. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm not gonna drop any more hints right now. So come back over on Wednesday, check it out. Let me know what you think. I appreciate all of your comments here. I love to read them later on and just see where you're coming in from, what you think of the card, all of the good stuff. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them. I will check them back in. Don't forget, tomorrow, free shipping day. So if you missed that announcement earlier, tomorrow, free shipping day, 1 day only. Stampin' Up! Is running this $75 minimum order. If you have questions on that, let me know. I will help you out. So that might be a good thing if you didn't get to order for the mystery party maybe, and you're still looking to order some product. This is the time to do it. Don't forget, July 1st celebration starts. So that's going to be another great incentive to order as well, because all of your orders $50 or more are going to get you that free celebration item. So there's so much to look forward to. There always is in the stamping world. Please, everyone, stay inspired, create something beautiful, share the love, and come back and see me next time for another Make It Monday. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.